Hi everyone, so today I'm really excited because today I'm doing a collab with Annette from Annette's Makeup Corner. I love watching her channel. She's super blunt, she tells it how it is, she's really creative with makeup, and she puts out so many videos every week. So I really admire her work ethic. And we were talking on Instagram and I found out that she's been to Melbourne. She used to be a poker player professionally, which is really cool. And she's done heaps of travel. Back before I had babies, babies soon, I used to travel a lot, and we thought we'd do a video about looks that were inspired by places we've visited, which I thought was a cool idea. Also because sometimes I talk about places like the Philippines and you guys wonder, you know, what's happened, why were you living there? So it might be a bit of an interesting video to kind of chit chat about the places we've just traveled to. So I've chosen 3 places, she's chosen 3 places. So I hope you find this interesting. Hope you learn a little bit about us maybe. I'm gonna leave Annette's channel and video in the description down below so you can check out her one if you haven't already. And if you're from Annette's channel, welcome to my channel. Really excited, let's go. So if you watched my get ready with me's, I don't do get ready with me's very often because I don't really have a skill for talking and doing makeup at the same time. So I've done this makeup look and I'll put clips on the side or in front of my face showing you how I got this look. This look was actually inspired by my time in the Philippines. If you don't know, I used to live in the Philippines. I lived in a tiny little island about 12 to 15 hours by ferry from Manila back in 2014 for about a year. People thought, is it because I'm Filipino? No, I'm actually not Filipino, but an opportunity arose where I could actually work in the Philippines. It was at that time in my life, in my career, where I wasn't really happy with where I was. At the time, my housemate, she said, why don't you apply for this program? It's called Australian Volunteers for International Development, where they place you, they match your skills, and they place you with an organization in various developing countries. So I thought, why not? You know, what I have to lose? I'm not particularly enjoying my job at the moment, and I applied for other jobs as well as this. So I applied for this one in the Philippines in a tiny little island called Romblon. And I thought, I might get it, I might not. I didn't tell anyone about it. I didn't tell my family about it. I didn't tell Tom about it because I didn't think I was gonna get it, honestly. And then when I was on holiday in Malaysia, I found out that I got the job. I was so excited, but at the same time quite nervous as to how my family and my partner was gonna receive it, because it's a pretty big commitment to go to a foreign country, and potentially one that is perceived as somewhat unsafe. The Philippines doesn't necessarily have the best reputation when it comes to safety in some parts of the Philippines, but I definitely think that it comes from a lot of, you know, media putting out there all these things and blah, blah, blah. I mean, in the end of the day, you just have to use your street smarts and be safe as possible as you can. And I decided to take it up, and honestly it was one of the best things I ever did. So I was there working for the provincial government, working on developing their investment policies to kind of open up their borders and help with job opportunities, things like that, making it more appetizing for investors to come in and invest in that local area. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about the Filipino culture. I learned a lot about how the country is run. I learned a lot about myself as well, because being there on my own, it was definitely a big challenge for me because I never had done that before. So what inspired this look, and I know this is not the typical beachy bronzy look that I feel like when you think of the Philippines and you think of the beach and the tropical setting, you'd probably think of something sun-kissed and bronze. I wanted to do this look because I was really inspired by all the fiestas I went to. In the Philippines, every province has a fiesta at different times of the year, and their fiesta is pretty much a big celebration, lots of dramatic costumes and makeup and dancing, eating. I'll put some clips in there kind of to give you an idea of what they look like. So that's kind of why I decided to do this. This look is actually inspired by a kind of glam look that Garland did, and I wanted to do something a little bit more dramatic than I usually do. So this is why I've decided to go with this green kind of winged out look. Honestly, had I not settled down, and I was single, I feel like I might still be there. I enjoyed my time there so much. I think the people there are beautiful, the country is beautiful. It's just one of those totally underrated places to visit. There's honestly a lot to do there, and I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to go there and to work with the local community. I met some really beautiful people that I still keep in touch to this day, and I'd love to go back eventually. It honestly is one of the best times of my life, and you know, sometimes I feel like when one door closes, another one opens. And this was definitely one of those cases where I hadn't really planned it all that much, but I always kind of knew that I wanted to do volunteer work in some capacity. It's really left an impact on my life. And I feel like in a way it's made me more humble to how I live now, because I've seen the way people live there, and they don't have a lot, but I feel like they appreciate what they have, even though they don't have that much. And I find that very humbling. I didn't really talk that much about makeup, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of why I did this look. So second look is going to be inspired by my time in Korea. I've been to Korea a few times, but the last time I was there was back in 2016, and I went with 7 other friends, and it was just so fun. So I'm going to do a Korean inspired look. I never do Asian kind of style makeup. So I was watching Pony Effect. She does have subtitles, so it makes it a lot easier to understand what she's saying, because I don't speak Korean, just in case you were wondering. I wish I did. I have Korean customers and I know how to say 안녕하세요, hello. What else do I know how to say? 감사합니다, thank you. That's the extent of my Korean. I feel like Koreans focus a lot on the dewy skin, so I'm going to go in with the Aqua Primer from Rouge Bunny Rouge, which is also in my project pan, so should be using this one up. And just put that all over my face. I'm also going to go in with this Dewy UV Day Essence SPF 50, because need an SPF in my life. Don't know if I look tired today, but last night I had a rough sleep with the Joey. He's got pink eye, and I'm just hoping I don't catch it, because that would be bad. I feel like it's not quite luminous enough, so on top of that, this is probably an excessive amount of layers, but we're just gonna go with it. This Lumi Magique, it's all rubbed off. This is also in my project pan, and this is kind of like a glow to it. Now, Koreans love cushion foundations, and I've got this one from Silwasu Perfecting Cushion. I tried using the cushion. I hate the cushion, won't use the cushion. I didn't actually buy this in Korea. I don't think I bought any foundations because the foundations run really light. This particular range actually does run quite a few shades deeper than the norm in Korea. You know, with Japanese makeup, Korean makeup, you're not gonna find very deep shades, unfortunately. Doesn't like the smell. It smells like lotion. And I'm just gonna put that all over the face. I'm not gonna do too many layers, just kind of even out my skin tone. In Korea, people very focused on beauty and skincare, and I mean, there's always like 10 different skincare stores on the main shopping street, and then eventually they repeat, which is interesting. A lot of Korean makeup stores like the Face Shop and Etude House, and they sell kind of similar-ish stuff in cute packaging. The funny thing is, when you go into those stores, the first thing they do is like give you like a basket with free stuff in it. Maybe like a mirror. Like I got this mirror from Vanilla Co. They kind of suck you in with all the freebies. I'm also going to use a color corrector under the eyes and the nose where there's redness. So I'm using these 3 concealer palette. I'm not going to show you the inside because it's in my project pan. So you want to see how I'm going on that, you can click on that video. No spoilers here. Just under the eyes. I'm going to try and talk while getting ready. I'm honestly so bad at it. Still so bad at it. So we went in 2016, their summer. So it was around August, September. And we flew in, we got in, and we stayed in Seoul for the first few days. We ate mostly. It was mostly an eating trip, to be honest. And Korean food is delicious. I mean, it's mostly meat. I feel like if you are vegetarian, it's slim pickings. Surprisingly, there's actually not that many vegetable options. Well, in Japan, I noticed that it's very expensive. Like, fruits and veggies are really expensive. And I'm not sure if that's the same reason why, or maybe it's a preference in Seoul or in Korea, that, you know, people prefer their protein. But mostly had like a lot of Korean barbecue, a lot of Korean fried chicken, which is so good. I mean, I love fried chicken in general. The Koreans are really good at frying their chicken, just tell you. I didn't go too crazy with the makeup because, you know, similarly with Japanese makeup, it's very kind of, it's a certain type of look, which I'm going to try and do today, but it's definitely not my style. Like the tinted lips and soft shimmers, it's not to my preference. I feel like I have more Western tastes in that sense. Maybe because I've not grown up in Asia. Probably one of my highlights in Seoul is we went to this place where it's a hiking spot. It's a very popular hiking spot. A lot of people go there on the weekends, and the average age, I swear, of those people that do the hikes are probably around their 50s, and they're very fit. Very, very, very fit. They're way fitter than me and my friends. But basically in this, I'll put the name if I can remember, this spot, you can actually hike up a small hill or mountain or whatever you want to call it, and you can actually see all of Seoul. It's beautiful. Really recommend it if you want to do something that's not shopping and eating. And luckily one of my friends is actually Korean, because I feel like we might have had a hard time had none of us spoken Korean. But we basically went to do the hike. We got to the sort of the top. I mean, you could have gone further if we wanted to, but we just wanted to take a photo, and then our plan was just to go home. And we met this group of hikers, and they helped us take a photo, and they invited us to go hiking with them. And I thought that was so nice. So we went on that. Little did we know, I mean, we're not that fit compared to these people. They were very nice in making sure that we weren't straggling behind. I'm only going to powder kind of like the center of my face, by the way, because I noticed that Koreans like to keep their makeup looking quite dewy, although I feel like it's already looking quite matte. Like it's a whole day thing for them. These hikers had brought their food in their thermos and all sorts of like hot food, hot noodles. They were so prepared. They were really prepared. And it was so lovely because they were sharing their food as well, and all we had to offer was like snacks from 7-Eleven. It was very nice of them to share their lunch. We were totally not prepared. We weren't expecting it to be a whole full day thing. Every hike or hiking trails are graded, and I think this was graded a kind of like a difficult level. Luckily I had decent shoes on. I'm gonna try and create a straight-ish brow because I know that's kind of like the style, like, because it looks like it's more youthful. People kind of don't really arch their brows and have it looking super shaped. So it's kind of straight. And then also straight at the bottom. So I'm gonna try and just not emphasize that arch. I've noticed that they do like thick brows though, which is great because my brows are quite thick-ish. I don't know if I'm gonna do this look justice, but we're gonna try it anyway. But anyway, back to the story. They were speaking Korean, and my friend who can speak Korean was actually translating for us. And one of the ladies kept saying, oh, you know, I have a lot of collagen in my face. Like I've got so much collagen. And I'm like, no one's ever told me that. No one's ever complimented me on the amount of collagen I have on my face. I just thought that was so interesting. It was weird. I don't know, it's interesting. People actually ingest collagen in Asia. And I don't know if it does anything, but those like collagen powders in Japan and stuff, that's so popular. Let me know if you ever tried those, because I don't know, I just don't know if that would work. I don't know. Collagen is not something that's been on a priority for me, I guess. I'm also gonna powder my eyelids as well. Okay, I'm gonna use predominantly shimmers today because I noticed that shimmers are a thing. Layering shimmers is a thing. So I'm gonna go in with this Suku palette. This is from their 15th anniversary color compact in 101. And actually, Pony she was, I think, the face of it. And these shades, I think, are very kind of on trend in terms of like what people in Korea like. I'm gonna obviously use shimmers all over the eye. So I'm gonna go with this shade and just sheer it out. Another highlight of that Korea trip is we went to Jeju Island, which I think is a kind of popular honeymoon destination. But there's a lot of like UNESCO World Heritage natural beauty sites there because there's like a inactive volcano. It was an active volcano. What is it called? Mount Halasan, which is a somewhat tall mountain on Jeju Island. Like it's not so high that you're gonna get altitude sickness, but I think it's something like 1,800 meters above sea level, and it does take about 8 hours round trip to go up and down. It gets really cold up there. Even though it was summer, when you get to the top, it's pretty cool. So I do recommend taking some sort of like light jacket up with you if you can, otherwise you'll be freezing. Just like I was. A lot of outdoors activities on Jeju Island. So I highly recommend that. The only thing is that you probably will need to hire a car, because unlike Seoul, which is pretty much you can get around on the metro quite easily, Jeju is not connected like that. Next, I'm going to take this darker shade here on the outer V. What else? We went to a Bang in Korea. It's like the Korean version of onsen, but the one we went to in Jeju was just so tourist trap type. There were no locals there at all. It felt like kind of dingy and gross. It's one of those places where you have to strip naked, wash yourself, and then you can go to all these saunas and stuff like that. And I mean, yeah, I tried it. We tried it. It was awkward. I mean, like, you know, I'm okay with nudity and everything, but it was just, I think because the place just didn't seem very like classy, that it just, I don't know, it just felt really awkward. So that was an experience. Gonna go in with this shade from Clear. This is actually a Korean brand in the shade 17 Copper. I'm just gonna put that on my finger. It's kind of a weird kind of creamy texture. Like if I put my finger on here, you can sort of create an indent. It's like a cream to powder type of thing. It's very shimmery. Just on the eyelid. An interesting thing I noticed in Korea was that when people drive, people use their hazard lights a lot. And we were wondering, what does that mean? People are putting their hazard lights as they're changing lanes. Like, what is that? And apparently people do that to indicate that they're about to do something somewhat dangerous. And I was like, that's so strange. It's so strange to me. And luckily I wasn't the one driving, because I don't know, I feel strange about driving on the other side of the road. I'm also gonna go in with this shade and I put that on the center of the lid. I don't know if this will make a difference. Probably not, because yeah, it doesn't really make too much of a difference, to be honest. I'm also going to use brown liner to create a kind of soft wing. People prefer using brown than anything else. And I'm kind of not going to take it all the way up, but just mostly at the side, and tight lining as well. Create a tiny wing out here, kind of going downwards. And then on top of that, I'm gonna go over that with some matte brown eyeshadow. I'm gonna take this angled brush from Crown just to kind of softly smudge the liner out. Just some black mascara at the top. On the bottom lashes, I'm gonna wear some brown mascara. This is actually brown eyebrow gel. I don't know if this is gonna work, but I saw Pony do that because she said it looks more natural. Now for blush, I think I'm just gonna use this shade, this orange shade, and just kind of sweep it across the cheek, because I'm going to keep it fairly soft. Totally not a technique I would normally do, but this is kind of like how I saw Pony do it, kind of sweeping outwards. I am going to mix a little bit of pink in. I'm going to take this shade Duo Glow, same brush, and just on top of that. And then on the lips, I'm going to take a bit of a lip tint, because people like lip tints there. Different strokes for different folks, I guess. So I've got a few lip tints, and I'll be honest, I hardly reach for them. These are a few from Peri Pera, which is quite a popular brand for lip tints, but I don't know if this shade's gonna match the eye look. And then these ones as well. I've also got this one from Boutte as well. I might try this one first. I'm gonna kind of put a little bit of foundation on my lips to kind of cancel out some of the redness. Okay, and then go in with the lip tint. Okay, that's way too neon pink. I might go in with some of this one as well, just to kind of make it a little less pink and make it a bit more red. Okay, this is much more red. That's a bit better, I think, but I'm just gonna blot it. I don't know, I don't think I really pulled it off this look, to be honest. So I'm out of my PJs and into some actual clothes. I like to match it as always. Earrings are from Trousseau, Melbourne made. Love these earrings. Yeah, I don't know how well I pulled off this look, to be honest. I never do this kind of makeup, and I feel like all the techniques are opposite of what I'm used to doing, like just not having any bronzer and more definition around the eyes, and everything. It's a little bit of fun to do something that's out of your comfort zone and out of the norm. Let me know what you think. Here, last look. I think it might be a little bit of a struggle because I feel like I'm getting a little bit sick again. Joey's coming in and out of childcare, bringing all sorts of diseases, and we're getting it. So I'm gonna try and keep this short and sweet. Today's look is gonna be inspired by French makeup, inspired by my time in France. I have been studying French since high school. Actually, since primary school. So in Australia, every school has a language that they teach their students from primary school. Some schools, it might be Chinese, it might be Greek, it may be Korean. But in my school, we were taught French. Besides being forced to learn Chinese, I've always enjoyed languages, and specifically French. I just find that French is a very beautiful language. Some people might disagree. So from year 7, I took that as an elective, and I continued French all the way up to year 12 and in VCE. And to me, studying French was an escape because I just didn't enjoy a lot of my other subjects like maths and chemistry. Even though I do work in banking, maths isn't necessarily my stronger suit. Yes, I can do it. I can do maths. But I was never one of those very academic students in terms of that side of things. I was much better at humanities subjects. At the end of year 11, we did a French exchange program, which was really exciting because I had never studied abroad and I had never gone abroad by myself. So this was the first time, and it was going to be for about a month. So it was an exchange program where we would go to a school, live with a family, and study the language. So I was very fortunate because my mom actually knew someone in France because she had a pen pal, get this, since she was a teenager, and still kept in contact with him. And we requested that I stay with him because she knew the family. And he lived in this town called Angoulême. It's called the capital of comics, the capital of bande dessinée, which is comics in France. In the town, there's beautiful murals of comic drawings. I have to say, I was really nervous. Coming from an all-girls school, I went to an all-girls school during my high school, I had very little interaction with the opposite sex, and I was just an awkward kid, to be honest. I was very awkward, extremely nerdy, and I had my head in the books at all times. I really didn't do anything else except studying. So we got there in December. It was Christmas. The first time I ever seen the snow, like the actual snow falling from the sky. School over there was a completely different challenge. The kids over there, in some ways, mature faster, or they're exposed to things at early ages, like drinking and everything. Yes, I would have a glass of wine with my parents, but it wasn't like a regular thing. I remember going to these parties and everyone was just drinking and smoking, and I was just so not part of that scene. With my host family, because their children were already grown up, they had kind of paired me with their family friend and the family friend's son, Thomas. Thomas wasn't particularly friendly, and I found it really awkward because my French, at that point, I was so nervous to speak French that I was only speaking English. And it was only till one of his friends said to me in French, "Why are you speaking in English? Like, if you came here to study French, when you go to a foreign country and you have to speak it, you are always worried about making mistakes." And so I just started speaking French. Definitely made some mistakes, but I mean, that's what I had to do to kind of get over the fear. Is just kind of speak, and even if I'm saying things incorrectly, then you learn. I don't know what I want to say about this experience. It was a very long time ago. I mean, I had a really great time because it was so out of my comfort zone. It was very interesting going to a school over there. It's so different to the schools here. It was a private Catholic school, and they had smoking zones in the kind of outdoor area of the school, and I just found that so strange. There were like students smoking on school grounds. I don't know, tell me, is that something that your school did? But that wouldn't happen here. It was just bizarre to me. Yeah, I think from there, that's kind of when my French became a lot better. Kind of started not to have to think about speaking. It just came naturally to me, which is kind of sad because that's not the case anymore because I don't really speak it very often. So fast forward to university days, and I actually continued to do French in university because I studied commerce and economics, and I wanted something that wasn't completely just finance. So I decided to do French as well, and I'm really glad I did. I met my best friend Nicole through French actually. We were in the same French class for like a year before we actually started talking. I don't know why. This is the friend that I went recently on my Japan trip. She lives now in Dubai, which is a bit sad, so I don't get to see her very often. We actually did a French exchange together. The uni that I went to, they have programs where you can go to another university and study abroad. I think a lot of universities do have partner programs. We decided to do that. We went to Vichy, which is again a town in the middle of nowhere, but you may know of them because they make the skincare. They're known for their kind of thermal water. I haven't really explained what I'm doing, by the way, but I'm just gonna keep this really simple. I'm gonna do a red lip. I know it's a bit formulaic, but that's kind of what I think of when I think of French room. I think of like a classic red lip. So I'm gonna keep it really simple on the eyes. Bit of brown eyeshadow on the lower lash line. I'm gonna keep the upper lash line bare, except for maybe a little bit of cream blush. I'm gonna use this Seas of Illumination highlighting liquid on kind of like the high points of my cheeks where I haven't powdered. Cupid's bow. And a little bit on the inner corners too. Then for cream blush, I'm gonna use this Moonshot cream paint, which really a little goes a long way, so you really don't need very much. We met a whole bunch of other people that were studying French for various reasons. Some people that had, you know, migrated there and had to learn the language for their work. People from all walks of life. That's where I went to my first Sephora as well, back before Sephora was actually in Melbourne. I'm gonna take a bit of that on the lids as well. Just like a tiny little bit. Just give it a little bit of color. So after we studied, Nicole and I actually went and traveled. She wanted to go to Lourdes because that's kind of like a famous place for Catholics. It was near the Pyrenees. We went snowboarding. We learned how to snowboard for the first time. Little did we know, you know, a lot of places don't actually do rental clothes, like ski clothes, like a lot of places in Australia do, because over there, skiing is very accessible to everyone and most people just have their own stuff. So we just went in what we had, which was leggings and like a puffer jacket, and we got very wet because you fall a lot when you don't know how to ski. We ate tons of cheeses. I think our list was to eat about 100 different cheeses, because if you go to the supermarket, there's aisles of cheese. I think we hit about 30, which I think is not a bad effort. I know I'm not talking very much because I'm concentrating on getting my makeup done. Bit of black eyeliner to tight line the top. So for my red lips, I'm going to use this Nars Audacious lipstick in Rita. I've actually never used it before. This is in a limited edition packaging. It's beautiful. And we're going to try that. So I'm going to kind of go on and then like blot out the edges. Ooh, that is really beautiful red. Need to concentrate when doing red lips. It's quite a nice formula, very comfortable, creamy, pigmented. I'm gonna use this Zoeva concealer buffer brush and just kind of make the lines just a lot softer than they are. So this is my French inspired look. I know the red lips is a bit stereotypical, but I don't know, it's a good excuse just to wear red, because I actually don't often wear red lips. I know it was a little bit rambly. I went probably quite off topic, but basically the moral of the story is I really just enjoyed my time in France, my times in France. It's one of those countries that I'd love to keep going back. Honestly, I haven't spoken French in a very long time. Je parle comme un vache espagnol, I think is a saying that would apply to me now. My French has gone so downhill, it's actually really embarrassing. I remember last time we were in France, Tom and I, we went to a Macca's to order a hamburger or whatever we wanted to order, and they spoke to me back in English, so I think my French was already on the decline. And then he went back by himself, spoke in English that he wanted a hamburger, they pretended that they didn't understand him. So I mean, I think it does help to be able to speak French in France. They seem to like you putting in the effort. So I actually am glad that I have that skill, although it's definitely dwindling. It's always useful to have, especially if you like traveling. To conclude, these were the 3 looks from the 3 places that I've traveled to. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you maybe learned a little bit about me, or maybe you just enjoyed seeing the makeup. Like I said, I'm gonna leave Annette's channel in the description bar below. Please go check her out and support her. I'm so excited to see what she's chosen, because I know she's been to a lot of places. Maybe she'll choose Melbourne, I don't know. That'll be fun to watch. But anyway, I'm gonna let you go about your day. I'm gonna get to work on my red lips, and I hope to catch you next one. Thanks so much for watching.